Greetings, greetings. We are live. Sister Shanice in the house alongside Dr. Clyde Winters. I am honored. Ooh, it's always a joy, always a privilege, always an honor to have Dr. Clyde in the house. He is absolutely phenomenal. We are streaming live, Dr. Clyde. Thank you so, so much for joining this platform. You know my audience loves you, right?
Well, I'm glad to be loved.
Oh, you are very much so. Our audience love you. When I ask them, who do you want me to get back on the show? Your name always comes up. And
Oh,
so delighted that you've taken the time out to join us today. So family, let everyone know that we are indeed live. And if you're watching us for the first time, you may not have met Dr. Clyde Winters before. So while I just post and give everybody the live link, let me ask our beloved guest to introduce himself to you this evening.
well,
Dr.
how
Clyde.
you doing? How you doing, family? I'm Dr. Clyde Winters. I'm an educator. Well, I was an educator. I'm retired now. I taught in Chicago public schools for 46 years. I taught at Governor State for 10 years, and I also taught at St. Xavier University. Both of the Governor State was in University Park, Illinois, and St. Xavier was in Chicago, Illinois. I like to do comparative linguistics, anthropology, history, education, stuff like that. My PhD is in educational psychology, and the reason I got a PhD in educational psychology is that when I was younger, I started publishing articles as soon as I graduated from University of Illinois in 1973. So when I graduated, I got my master's and BA in the same year. And so when I graduated, I started looking at research articles, and I said, "Damn, I got an idea about that." So I started publishing. And because I published so many articles in linguistics, anthropology, so by the time I got ready to do a PhD, I wasn't going to do that because I I would have had professors who had published less than me. So I got my PhD in educational psychology because it dealt educational psychology deals with how people think. It also deals with how you teach, and most importantly, it allowed me to learn more about research and be able to teach research. For example, when I was at Governor State, I got it about 45 people with their master's degrees, and then about 4 or 5 people I got it. I was on their committees for their PhDs, you know. So so again, 46 years teaching. I was married for 50 years. I have 6 kids. You know, that's me.
Oh,
Let's call me. Over in America, when you get black and you get old, they don't call you Mister. They don't call you Sir. Just call me Uncle Clyde. Yassa,
oh.
yassa.
Uncle Clyde, I love it. I love it. Wow, married 40 plus years. You know what? I did say that one of these days I'd love to do a session with you on relationships. I know that there's a lot that we could all learn from your experience of being married and being married for 46 years. Wow, wow. So
Don't
we,
worry.
maybe we'll do
Well,
that one of these.
one day, you let me know. We'll do it. But
Oh,
I,
fantastic.
everybody is different, and the first thing you brothers, if you come into the site, you have to, in a sense, if you come into that particular program, you have to let your mind open because see, when you grow up in the Western Hemisphere, because of the fact in the sense that we were about procreation on the plantation, and
Mhm.
as a result, our fathers and uncles they always tell you when you get about 12 or 14, have you had a girlfriend? That means have you had sex yet? So they're always pushing you to have sex so early that a lot of
Mhm.
times we don't really get to know our partners, and a lot of
Mhm.
times because our fathers and uncles teach us to be hoes, a lot of times we leave a lot of out of wedlock children. So it's very
Mhm.
difficult. And I mean, it's across the board. If you notice, even among Latinos, anybody that grew up in the Western Hemisphere, a whole lot of unwed mothers. But we also find that even among Europeans over here, Like I've told this story many times. When I was teaching at Governor State, a lot of my students would have to do a master's thesis. So I used to have a lot of Caucasian women in my class, and they would say, "Hey, I want to do my master's thesis on single parenthood." I'd say, "Okay." I'd say, why do you want to do that?" "Well, I want to talk about how Black people, their children sometimes don't do well in school and things like that. And you know how because of the fact that they're unwed moms that they do that." I said, "Okay." I said, "Do you have any children?" "Oh yeah, I got two." I said, "Are you married?" "Oh no, I'm not married, but I was married." "Oh, so you're a single parent, huh?" "Yeah." I said, "Do you really want to do that paper?" "Oh no." Because Caucasians get married, but their husbands still leave them. That's why you always find older Caucasian women, they always got a boyfriend. But the whole point is that I mean, it's the same thing over here. Men over here most of the time we're very cowardly. And when a relationship gets too hard, we kind of disappear. But my father taught me, he said that I want you to be a man. And he said a man never deserts his family. And I told my five sons, I got five sons. So I told them, I said, I'll love you. I'll love you till the day you die. I'll love you. I'll always love you. But I said, I don't want to just love you. I want to respect you. And the only way I can respect you is if you do what men do. And I said, a man takes care of his family. So they take care of their family. So I can love them and respect them.
Powerful. That's such an important message that you got from your father there. And thank you so much for sharing that with our audience. Because as you said, in America, so in the UK as well, a lot of children growing up in fatherless homes. So they won't have a father figure maybe around to give them that message. And you've just given them that important message. And I think it's a message that maybe even the mums who are there with the children can give to their sons as well. Say, son, when you grow up, be a man. Do what a man does.
But
Stay with your family and never desert them.
the
Hang
only
on in.
difference the only difference was back in the day, when I was growing up, you always had uncles involved with their nephews and stuff. But now, you know, nowadays, it's usually the single mom, her brother's one place, she's another, and so that's not that thing because I don't think being raised by a single parent can really hold you back because so many of us were raised by single parents. Like in the building that I lived in, the last building I lived in when I was a teenager, it was about 15 apartments. But I was the only one that had a father that came home every night that was married to my mom. Everybody else is a single parent. But yeah, it is. It's
Yeah,
very
so
hard.
we'll definitely go into that, but you've left us on that topic with a really powerful message that we've got to make sure that we tell our children from when they're young, growing up, that they need to do what a man is supposed to do, and that is to look after his children, never desert the family, and to be there so that he can be respected as a man. And that's so powerful because quite often as well, a lot of the men that I tend to see in the UK who are like down and out are the men who never married and never settled and never had children because life is so fast, isn't it? I mean, it goes so quickly. Men, you're young today, but in no time at all, you're going to be up in age. Do you want to be up in age alone, lonely, maybe with just a bottle of whiskey or something for company? Or do you want to be home with knowing you've got a family there, children there who care for you, who look out for you, who look after you? Hey,
it's very hard for
you get back what you put in, I think.
kind of. But see, when you're a handsome guy, you're cursed. When I was young, I was very handsome. I mean, hey, the girls always said I had pretty
You're
eyes.
still handsome, hey.
So anyway, when I was younger, I was very handsome, and I always had girls wanting to throw their bodies at me and stuff. And I even wanted to learn how to rap, so I went around. My brother called Mr. Ed, he finally, by the time he decided he was going to stop living off women, he retired as a Chicago police officer. But the point is this: is that women can make your head get so big, Sister Shanice. They can make your head get so big, make you feel that you're so important, and then it'll make you feel that you should use women. So it's very hard. It's very hard because see, so many women can be throwing themselves at you, and and so then that can cause a problem when you're a man, unless you really, you just. I had to learn how not to be a gash man. And now a gash man is somebody who's always trying to have sex with women, and then they move on, because I always see a single mom. A single mom, when that guy said he loved her, she believed it.
Yes, yes, because everybody wants to be loved. Yeah, everybody wants
Right,
to believe it.
right. And most of the time when we come from families where very few of us, at least over here, a lot of people my age, even some of the women, very few of us grew up with our moms telling us that they love us.
Yeah,
They
that's
show
true.
you they love you. They show you they
Yeah,
love you. But it looks like
yes.
it's so many of you that if it's more than two, look like they don't know what to do. And so
Yeah, they
then
don't want to love one more than the other and show
that's right. That's
favoritism.
what they say, but they always have a favorite. I don't have
Yeah.
any favorites though.
So
But
you said.
but
As,
and so what happens? So then a lot of times our women, because I really believe is that most black women, they don't really feel love because they're always waiting for them. If they grew up in America and the Caribbean, anywhere in the Western Hemisphere, if you're a black woman, you always feel that your man is going to leave you, and because you feel your man is going to leave you, you can never be completely free.
100%.
Really,
Yeah.
to really love her, to really love your man, you can never be completely free because you always say, "I don't want to be a fool," but you're a fool already. But you say, "I don't want to be a fool," because he, him, her, him, his,
Yeah,
so it's very
yeah.
complicated.
There's that fear, isn't there? Yeah, that he's going to leave because, as I was saying in one of my shows before, I think one of my radio shows, that's because in the Western Hemisphere, they make Black women feel invisible, especially in countries
Yeah.
like the UK. You don't see us up there in the movies. We're not the ones who the men are loving. We're not the ones who they're, prepared to die for, who they're going to fight for. We're not the ones in the image who or in the film who they're providing for and going out and working to take care of the family for. Yeah, so they've made us invisible, and so it's difficult then for our men to know if they haven't been taught by a good father what their role is and how
Can
they're
you
supposed.
let me
Mm-hmm.
ask you a question? Can you
Mm-hmm.
think of one black movie where the man and woman had a healthy relationship?
No,
Me
not off the
neither.
top of my head. No,
You
not a black on black relationship. No. No, but we see that all the time, every day with white on white relationships. They'll even try and portray that with a black and white relationship. There was a film that you did the breakdown of, and what was the name of that film?
Creation of the New Negro.
The Creation of No, not that one.
Uh-huh.
The one where it was a black man who was a very well-to-do man, and his daughter who had rented their house out for
Oh yeah,
as an Airbnb.
right. Um, it
Maybe
was
someone
about.
in the chat can let us know the name of that movie. But I think it was you who was telling me
Yeah,
afterwards that it was a book, and in the book it was a black couple, but in the
yeah,
movie they took out the wife and put in the daughter
yeah.
in the film, so we didn't even get to see a
Oh,
black
Leave the
couple.
World Behind. Leave the
That's the
World
one.
Behind is on
Yeah, yeah,
Netflix. Yeah.
yeah. That's the one. Family's well worthwhile watching. I
And
was.
if you remember, back in the '80s, when Bill Cosby had his show on, that was a very loving relationship. The man and woman got around. But if you notice, is that they brought out the color purple, and the color purple, the first 28 minutes in the color purple, you got some brothers just beating the hell out of their women, their wives, and all that, their girlfriends and all that. But
Yeah.
see, growing up, black women didn't take no stuff like that. I'm looking, I'm looking. That's why you find a lot of people, in a sense, they would leave. They would leave. It was a '60s thing and a '70s things where men got away with really beating on women and stuff like that, because the more that a lot of foundational Black Americans started buying into the culture, then they started accepting that stuff. You know, back in the day, I mean, everybody had at least three aunties. Everybody had at least three aunties.
Aunties.
Yeah, three aunties. At least you had three aunties, and these aunties, you hear, oh yeah, Mary's husband died down south, and then she would go down south and get everything. But the only problem was is that Mary's husband had usually shacked up with somebody else. But see, the wife would be able to get his possessions because they had been married, but he didn't marry the second woman. You know, and so then that's why you had three aunties, and when their husbands died, they go down south and get the stuff. Because you know how that's how we were. That's slavery. That's from that slavery stuff. You know, I'm with you today. I'm gone tomorrow. Let's get a divorce. Okay, I'll see you. You know, instead of going to get official papers, Caribbean, Latin America, you know, United States, instead of getting official papers, they just walked out. You see, and so then you always had three aunties that when their husbands died, they go and get all this stuff and they come back. But it wasn't fair because those other women may have been with him for 20, 25 years, but they never got married, so they had no right to the property.
Oh,
you know, so it's I don't know.
Back in the day, those were the days. So this is a new day. And, you know, we're about building families and learning from the mistakes, isn't it? Huh?
You're right. You're right. You're right. Again, Sister Shanice, we're back trying to build families, right?
Yes.
And what movie has come back out?
Oh, I don't know. I don't watch the television.
That's good. Okay, well, now that Black people are trying to rehabilitate their families in the United States, they're bringing back out The Color Purple, because see, The Color Purple is a film that publicizes a division between Black men and Black women. See,
it's trauma. That film is trauma.
Yeah, and see, just like they brought it out when Bill Cosby was trying to get those type of ideas, they brought it out again so that they can have people to go back into reverse. See, it's always this idea. It's always this idea that me and you, we shouldn't be together. Why? You shouldn't be with a Black man. In fact, it's better if you become homosexual. Because see, if you're a baby mama, you're dangerous if you're a baby mama because you brought another Black person into the world. See, you know, like Frances Welsing, you know, what she said is that the ultimate goal is for us to be non-reproductive. And the only way you can be non-reproductive is to be homosexual. I'm not against anybody who wants to do that. That's your thing, you know. But the point is that's what they aim to push you, because you don't reproduce. You see, if you got a child and you're a baby mama, you're not welcome, because you've already increased the population, because they want us to destroy ourselves, but God just keep us here.
We will not be destroyed. We will be building families. And as I think one sister said, Black couples were married during slavery, married yesterday, they're married today, and will continue to marry in the future.
That's right.
Irrespective.
We're gonna do it. And when we get a divorce, we're going to just say bye.
We must do it. We will do it. Welcome, family. I can see you in the chat. Let's just welcome the family. Sister Afri Jamal, big up. Brother Haru's in the house. Crate Safa, good to have you in the house. Then Caucasian women, she said, when I think back about my experience with them, I was crazy. All over me, AI all over me, salvinating like a lion to a carcass. All fall down, welcome, good to have you in the house. What's that? So now X, good to have you in the house. I don't think I recognized your name before. If you're a first time visitor to this channel, welcome, welcome. Watching us from Dominica in the Caribbean. Absolutely beautiful. And says, you may call me Magic. I like that. So welcome, welcome, Magic. Good to have you in the house. Hey, Jamaican drunker, it's a little while since I see you. Welcome. Good to have you in the house. Rita Dickerson, welcome, welcome. Good to have you in the house as well. And to everybody, yeah, enough conversations going on. Aki, good to have you in the house. Everybody, each and every one of you, welcome, welcome. Great to have you on board. As you can see, we have our beloved Dr. Clyde Winters in the house. And he is absolutely phenomenal. I've been working with this great, great man for a good few months now. And he's the author of no less than about 46 books, family. Please do support the works of this great man. Buy at least one of his books, you know, about 46 amazing books about our history. And, you know, that is no small accomplishment. Those of us who have written know only too well the amount of work, the sacrifice, the effort that goes into writing these books. Why do we do it, you may ask? And that is to save you, my wonderful audience, the time and the effort of having to do so. So one book might take 1 year, 2 years, 3 years to compile, research, and write. And you can have that book to read, you know, in a few days, in a week, or strong, what have you. And in so doing, get the knowledge that it took a scholar like Dr. Clyde years to actually write. So please do support the works in any way that you can. Let me, at this point, hand over to our great scholar, Dr. Winters, who has a presentation for us. And then we will be coming back to you in the chat. Put your questions in the chat. Get ready. Hold on to your seats. We're coming. So if you're new, welcome, welcome. Okay, fantastic. Over to you, Dr. Winters.
Okay, why we need to learn Black British history. I'm going to put the slides in my Patreon, so go to my Patreon to see the slides and to support me. You can find me at Twitter at Dr. Clyde Winters 8. You can follow me on TikTok at Clyde Winters 3. Right now, I think last time I looked, it was about almost 600,000 views of shorts about me on TikTok. Go to TikTok, just put in Clyde Winters. Look at some of those shorts. I want to get up to 1 million views.
Woo, you can do it. You will do it. Wow.
It doesn't help me because I didn't put them on, but whoever put them on, thank you. But go to TikTok.com to see the shorts. You can see my YouTube videos. My YouTube videos are on my channel, and I'm going to be doing some lives on my channel. So if you're looking for me and you don't find me, go to my YouTube channel and you'll see my lives. You can order my books at Amazon.com. You know, this is how they like to think about you. If you're Black, if you're from the Caribbean, if you're from Africa, if you're from America, this is what they want to see. They want to see, you know, the Negro. They want to see the Negro in chains, you know, in chains. But look at this. What I like about this particular emblem, it says the centenario of the abolition of slavery in Puerto Rico. What I like about this particular picture is that, look at this. On the one hand, you see that one hand is open, but the other hand is a fist. And this is to show that when we broke our chains, when we decided to be free, you see, then we had to fight to be free. But part of being free is knowing knowledge of yourself. Because see, when you know knowledge of yourself, that allows you to be able, in a sense, to be all that you can be. And it's very important that we're all that we can be. But the only way that we can find that is, in a sense, to have knowledge. You know, this is what they want you to think about. This is how they want you to see yourselves. They want you to see yourselves as with white people with glamorous clothes, and white people, in a sense, going around. And then, you know, the blacks are with the dogs, with the other farm animals. The blacks are all looking like they're begging. The blacks are all looking like, in a sense, that they need some help. And the whites are just looking as if they're the mother and the father, of these African people. See, this is what they want you to think about. They want you to believe that slavery is your legacy. They want you to believe that as a person growing up in Britain, that you have no history. As a person growing up in Britain, you have no identity. As a person growing up in Britain, they want you to believe, in a sense, that you're waiting for someone to lead you. You see? You're waiting for that gentleman to come and lead you. But is that the real way we should see things? No. Imagery is warfare. Imagery is warfare. The pictures that people present to you on radio, TVs, and movies. This is warfare. They don't show you. Let's go from left to right. They don't show you the royals that were contemporary in Britain. The middle picture, they don't show you this queen that was a queen during Roman times. And they definitely don't show you this last brother on the right, who in a sense was in Britain 22,000 years ago. See? No. What they want you to see is that this is what they want you to think of as your legacy. This picture is what they want you to think of as who and what you are and your potential. And your potential based upon this is to just be a victim. They don't want you to see that you were once the royals. They don't want you to see that you were once the leaders. Imagery is warfare. Never forget that. We were born into a racist system of worldwide white supremacy. But it's a contradictory life living under worldwide white supremacy. A world in which a minority population will control almost our very being. If we didn't know that God was the creator of the universe, we think that it was the Caucasian. Having said this, I know our life is one of contradictions. Contradictions that remain unexplained until I learned from Nellie Fuller that we are prisoners of war. The European promotion of white supremacy has caused a double consciousness in us. Yes. W.B. Du Bois, he said it's a double consciousness in us. And that, yes, I'll admit, I grew up in North America. Many people in Britain grew up in Canada, in the Caribbean. But we still grew up with a double consciousness. We still knew how we had to play our role. We play our role whenever we're around Europeans. And we play another role when we're around our people. White supremacy affects our choices subconsciously. It decided for me who I would recognize as beautiful. Yes. When I was a little kid, my first girlfriend was Marilyn Monroe. Hey, the adult said, who's your girlfriend? Marilyn, I'm 5 years old. Marilyn Monroe. Why? Because they told me by looking at TV that Marilyn Monroe was supposed to be so beautiful. I didn't see any black women on TV back then. White supremacy affects our choices subconsciously. It decided who I would recognize as a symbolic representation of mother. Yes, mother. I didn't ever see my mother on those programs that came on in the 1950s. I saw somebody else being the mother. I thought in a sense that the Caucasian was so kind. I thought the Caucasian, she would never spank her children. My mama whipped my ass if I got in trouble. I'm sorry. And my grandma if I did something stupid, she slapped me in the mouth. But the point is this, is that wasn't the mom that we saw on TV. I don't know about you guys, but we had all these programs growing up in the 50s and 60s, where you had the white mom and the white family, and everything was just copacetic. Everybody had a pool, everybody had a nice house. I'm living in a janky apartment building, and I'm waiting to get that house in the pool. But this was what they taught me. This is how they instructed me. This is how they made me. These choices were made for us through the constant hammering into our mind that whites were supreme via the media's most powerful tools of persuasion, the schools, the books, the movies, and TV. You have been taught a fake history of Europe. You know, they teach you that you don't belong in the UK. They teach you that this has always been a land inhabited by the whites, the Caucasians, those superior folks. You have been taught that you were inferior to whites until they kidnapped your ancestors from Mama Africa and took you to the Caribbean. This is a lie. You are the Aboriginal people of the UK. Whites came into Europe only after 1500 BC, and they were still mainly in the Caucasus in Ukraine. Your ancestors built the towns, invented the public works and architecture of the UK. You see, in this book, you learn that the history you are taught about in relation to Europe is fake. It explains why the white supremacists don't want you to have your own schools and teach your children. They feel you will learn the truth. Yes. They're afraid that you'll learn the truth. They're afraid that you'll know who you are. And that's scary to them. Dr. Kev Tufasa, Akiba Ahunk. You see, he's a Caribbean scholar, but he made it clear that a PhD, that doesn't prove what you are and who you are, you see? Yes. He teaches you that a PhD doesn't mean a thing. It's your knowledge, you see? But what did he teach us? He taught us that what you must know is one, we are the first people. Number two, we are the mothers and fathers of civilization. Number three, you have to protect your culture because it is your identity. Yes. Your identity comes from your knowledge of who and what you are. What happened to the Black people of Sumer? The traveler asked the old man. For ancient records show that the people of Sumer were Black. What happened to them? Ah, the old man signed. They lost their history, so they died.
Wow. They
lost their history, so they died. And that's what they want to do. They don't want you to know who and what you are, you know? You see, Amos Wilson in The Falsification of African Consciousness, he said, knowing your history will reinvigorate your mind and spirit. To Wilson, we should love history and see history as psychohistory, you see? Because see, if you notice, they spend all their time writing our history. They teach all their time trying to write us out of history because they don't want to have any self-esteem. Wilson noted that in the final analysis, European history's principal function is to first separate us from ourselves. What? Separate us from ourselves and separate us from the reality of the world. To separate us from the reality of our history and to separate us from its ramifications. Think about that, see. Think about why they don't want you to know your history. FBB, Foundational Black Britons, they don't want you to know that history. See, they want you to believe that, I'm back in the promised land. I'm over here in Europe. I be down in Jamaica, man, now. Jamaica, I'm now go up there to the big country. I'm gonna be okay. No, damn, that's your country. Black history matters. This is why both Eurocentric and so-called liberal historians will usually agree that Blacks lack an ancient history. All they want you to know about is what? Slavery. You was a slave, you see? But Black history matters. History situates your place in society. History tells you who you are. History promotes to discourage self-esteem. You know, Sister Shanice, she brought up a very important point, is that if you notice, our great philosopher and spiritual guide, Michael Jackson, yes, he's my great philosopher. He's my spiritual guide, yes, Michael Jackson. If you notice that Michael Jackson eventually had to go and find some babies. So, okay, they may not look like us, but they're his children. Because he understood that it's the future. It's the future. As a father, when I look at my kids, every day when I came home and looked at my kids, I taught in the Chicago public schools for 46 years. When I went into that classroom, when I was teaching those kids, I saw my sons. I saw my daughter. Do you see what I'm saying? When you have children, you see your children even when you're interacting with other people. That's why they don't want us to procreate. That's why they don't want us to do it. But look at these children, they're looking up to you. They want you. Everybody always say, why is Dr. Winters screaming? Because Dr. Winters, if he talk too low, you think he BS? You grew up in a Black family. In a Latino family, when a child gets out of hand, that Latino picks up a shoe, picks up a sandal and throw it at him. In a Black family, your mama grabbed the nearest thing and throw it at you and say, stop! That's why I have to shout. Because when I shout, you're listening. Because the history tells you who you are. History promotes or discourages self-esteem. You see, look at these kids. What do you think if they were looking at a TV show and they saw Sister Shanice as the mom, or they saw Sister Shanice as the young mom, telling them what they could do? If they saw Sister Shanice being the mom who was instructing them and telling them if you work hard, you're going to be successful, what would happen to those kids? They'd have great self-esteem and they'd believe in themselves. But that's why they don't put a black woman there as a mom. See? If I asked you right now to tell me one movie, one TV program where you ever saw Black man and a Black woman loving each other and loving their kids, it's hard to name one. No. Because they don't want you to love them. See? They don't want you to hold your woman and grab her and hold her tight. They don't want you to hold your woman and let her know that you love her mighty, 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 mighty. They don't want you to do that. They want you to push your woman away so that she can feel bad. And if she feels bad, she can't help but make the kids feel a little sad too. But when you got that imagery for our children looking to us, looking up to us, waiting for us to teach us, you can't let them down. Don't let the children down. You see? A person who knows their history cultivates self-esteem and it motivates you to be successful. It makes the child happy. It makes the whole world become bright. The whole world becomes colorful. You see? It's kind of interesting. Now I'm going off the subject, but I will come back. I remember in the 60s, I saw everything as black and white. But then when I went over my wife, when I went over her house and they had a color television, wow, the world became more colorful. Now I know it sounds silly to you, but see, that's what knowledge is. That's what knowing who and what you are is. It makes the world become more brighter. It makes the world become more inviting. It makes the world allow you to have entry into that. And often we don't feel that we have any entry into that world because we feel that we're shut out. And why do we feel we're shut out? We feel we're shut out because the fact in the sense is that we feel that world doesn't recognize us. That world doesn't offer us any promise of success. You see? But knowing who and what you are, it lets you know that there's more. The mission of Afrocentrism is to use anthropology, history, and linguistics to ensure adherence to principles and theories related to the idea that African and world history originated on the African continent and moved outward from Africa through the human agency of Africans. Yes, through the human agency of Africans. I mean, Africans took their own selves out, speaking related languages and practicing a shared culture, who found the first civilizations of Africa, the Americas, and Europe. White supremacist view of blacks in Britain. This is what they want to teach you, which is a lie. They teach you that Britain is essentially a white place where blacks only just survived. They teach you that black people had no history in Britain. They teach you that the colonial connections were mythologized in the very statues and monuments that surround blacks in Britain. They show you all these fake statues of Romans and Greece. Those aren't original. They just made that mess up. They put them in a museum, and you see this statue, they'll break a head off, and then they'll say, hey, this is how the ancient Romans look. This is how the ancient Greeks look. Oh, no, they didn't look like that. But that's what they show you. So they can make you, in a sense, feel that you have no investment in history. And yet their prize exhibit is an exhibition of the artifacts from ancient Egypt. Ancient Egypt. I grew up in Chicago. Chicago has a Natural History Museum. When you go into the Natural History Museum, they have a beautiful section on ancient Egypt. When I would go there, I would always take my kids there. We would go at least 2 or 3 times a year, to be my wife. And then behind us, we'll have about 4. We had 3, then 4, then 5, then 6 little Indians following us around. And when we would walk, yeah, Mama. And then when we were in the museums, a lot of times the white people would look over us and look at the artifacts, and then they would look sad. And they would look sad because when they looked at those artifacts, seeing those Negro features, seeing some of them even painted black, and then they're looking at me and my children and my wonderful wife, they would just get all upset, you see, because they knew that wasn't them. They knew it was us. You see? The white supremacists in Britain, they feel the past of Black Britons was not in the curricula or mediated conversation. They don't put y'all in the curriculum. They don't want to teach anything. They might mention a few Black people, the abolitionist movement. It's always something to deal with slavery. See? Finally, the status quo made it clear that Black Britons came from nowhere and entered Britain for no good reason. Yeah, you came and then they kicked you out. Now you're coming back again, and then they're going to try to kick you out again. That's a lie. Peter Fryer, he wrote something called Staying Power, The History of Black People in Britain. It's a book written by Peter Fryer. That's considered a definitive history of the Black presence in Britain. It begins with the Roman conquest. It was first published by Pluto Press in 1984, and Staying Power was reissued in 2010 in the new edition. But it doesn't really tell you the history of Black people in Britain. If you read this book, it'll make you feel that, yeah, it was some Black people here, but there's many slaves. No. The theme of Staying Power is this. Fryer includes both people of African and South Asian descent in his definition of Black Britons. You hear that? Staying Power, The History of Black People in Britain, was written in response to the foundational Black Britons, Black Power movement and rebellions of the 1980s. Staying Power is a good source of foundational Black Britons narrating acts of anti-racist resistance, but it situates foundational Black Britain history within the context of slavery and abolition. See, again, it's to make you always feel that you're waiting, because see, why is abolition important? Because see, first they teach you about slavery. Oh, they made slavery. Yaza, boss. I don't know how y'all talk on the plantation in the Caribbean. But in America, Yaza, boss. I was gonna tell dad, boss. I was gonna get it done, boss. Yaza masa. And then they teach you that, yeah, they made me a slave, my ancestors. Then they talk about abolition. Then they come and say, oh, they later decided that they were going to free you. See, the white man made you slave and the white man free you. Yazaz. Get out of here. See, I'm going to tell you something. You never thought about this. You never thought about this. You never thought about this before your parents left, left from Trinidad or left from Jamaica or left from Barbados, and they went back to Britain. See, you never thought about the fact is that you felt, or your parents may have felt that the Caucasian was doing you a favor. He wasn't doing you no damn favor. You was doing him a favor. Mm-hmm. It was your parents that rebuilt Britain after World War II. Mm-hmm. It was your parents who really, in a sense, owned the land. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But you'll learn that when you take our class. But anyway, David Ulusoga, he mentions Bengal lady and the Roman influence. Ulusoga, he writes on the history, but again, it's always that idea that, okay, it's some Britons, but we're still being captives. We're still being captives. David Olusoga, he introduces a short film exploring critical moments in modern Black British history. Oh, but all those moments concentrate on slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Foundational Black Britons have a better history than just slavery, Olusoga.
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay, oh wow. Then this woman, she wrote a book called The Black Tudor Lord. Hey, happy days are here again. Oh, she's gonna tell us our story then. She's gonna tell us what we did and how we was. And that is just a lie. Hell no. Yeah, she discussed the Tudor period. But when she discusses it, she explains that the first contact was as trading partners with Africans. Oh, yeah, the Black Tudors, they had trading partners who were Africans. Then they said many Blacks came to the UK from Spain. Some of them were diplomats. Most of them were slaves. Mm-hmm. And as a result, when you read our book, The Black Tudors, she always mentions you guys as being just servants. There's no mention of the Black War. What are you talking about? They never mention the Black royals. And then we have a caller. He talks a lot about British history, but again, he's concerned, like most of the people over there, with ancient Egypt, ancient America. He mentions Roman period. Then he gives a few biographies of Black Britons, but he doesn't really teach you your history. Fryer, Okala, Olusoga. All these people are telling you they're trying to teach your history. They're not teaching you your history. They're not telling you your true history. That's why you got to learn your true history, because your true history will allow you to know why you're there. It will allow you to know your potential. And most importantly, it will allow your children to know that there's more to life than just being a servant. Wow. Here goes the mother goddess. Yes, I call Dr. Marie Charles the mother goddess. Dr. Marie Charles, she coined the name Foundational Black Britons. Dr. Charles' research shows the connection between ancient Britannia and Africa. Oh, wow. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Oh. Is Dr. Charles trying to say that in some way, when you're a Black Briton, if you're foundational, that means you made the country, right? Mm-hmm. How can Dr. Marie Charles claim that you made the country when your parents and grandparents just came over from the Caribbean? Or your parents or your grandparents just came from Africa? You guys were colonized. You have no relationship with Britain. And yet Dr. Marie Charles says that you're the foundation of Black Britons. Why? Dr. Marie Charles used to be a classroom teacher, you see. With a career spanning over 30 years, she has taught across the range from young children to adults. Marie Charles has a doctorate in cultural studies and humanities with a special focus on curriculum and writing and reconceptualization of the curriculum. Yes, reconceptualization of the curriculum. She knows that you have to change the curriculum. You have to change the curriculum and include in the British curriculum your history. Not as a slave, but your real history. Dr. Charles has published extensively in international peer-reviewed journals and is the co-author of a trilogy of research-based books on formative teaching based on multimodalities and multiliteracies. Dr. Charles is also the director of the Many Faces in Teaching infant organization. Dr. Charles has developed a teaching program around the genesis of geometry, which is linked to our Abracadabra, hidden sun, Kaso, the flesh. Yes. But see, the greatest research that Dr. Charles has just shown us is that she's just shown us, family. She's just shown us that our surnames in the Caribbean, our surnames from North America, that these surnames did not come from our masters. These surnames we already had because we were the original inhabitants of Britain, Scotland, Ireland. That's how you got your surname. This was first recognized by a researcher. He's doing research on Jamaica. Said, damn, I searched all the slave records. And it wasn't no O'Malley's here. There wasn't no O'Malley slave master. And there wasn't no Dailies. How the hell did they get Lindsay's? How the hell did they get those damn names? Well, anyway, they just named them. Hell no. Many of our surnames go back to our ancestors who came as chattel slaves. Chattel slaves. Oliver Cromwell, he said, I'm going to send you to slavery in the 13 colonies. I'm going to send you to slavery in Jamaica, Barbados. And you will be there for perpetuity. What does perpetuity mean? That means forever. But he couldn't keep you there. He couldn't keep you there. Dr. Chowdhury found what are the names of the foundational Black Britons? You were the Scythians or the Cushites. You were the Celts. You were the Picts. You were the Niger Dulb of Scotland. Yes. We say Niger, they say nigger. We say nigger, they say nigger. But you were, in a sense, the royalty of Scotland. And definitely many of us were called Moors. We argue that Blacks were the foundational people of the British Isles. We argue that foundational Black Britain history goes back further than the coming of the Windrush generation in 1948. Yes. Stop believing that your history only begins with the Windrush. It acknowledges that the original history of Britain began with Blacks entering Britain as early as 20,000 BC. It explains that the Phoenicians were Blacks who settled Spain, Britain, and West Africa. Yes. Stop it. They're not going to put that in the curriculum. We need a foundational Black Britain history. The history of FBB have been written basically from the perspective of foundational Black Britons as unwelcome guests in the UK. Major authors of this history, Peter Freyer, David Olusoga, Akala, Miranda Kaufman, Onyeka Nubia. They're all liars. It took Dr. Marie Childs to really teach us your history, you see. Dr. Marie Childs teaches that you have to stop allowing our kids to grow up with this inferiority complex. And that can begin with you as their parents. That can begin with you as their uncles and aunties. That can begin with you as their big brother, their big sister. That can begin with you as their mother and father. Dr. Childs, she recommended that what? That there should be one. Self-regulated students will produce their own learning and knowledge when they know that they have a history. She said that you should use scaffolding to help students to develop their own knowledge. What is scaffolding in education? Scaffolding means that you teach a little bit now, you teach a little bit later, and you build it up until that learner learns or knows everything about a particular experience. The curriculum has to move away from colonialism, servitude, and slavery, you see. And most importantly, you have to use dialogic teaching methods where students ask and answer questions of their own creation. Yes. Right now, if your kid goes to a school in Britain, and if your kid asks a lot of questions, the next thing you know, you get a note from the teacher, your child is misbehaving in class. You ask your child, what did you do, Johnny? I was just asking questions, Daddy. I just wanted an answer. How do you tell your kid, don't ask questions? But by the simple fact that your kid asks questions, he became a problem. Because that simple act of asking questions shows that he was going to be a problem when he got older, because he was going to be that brother who wasn't going to be led by the nose and believe all the rhetoric and lies that the school teaches him. Save your child. We need people to know foundational Black American history. Sister Shanice, she said, if you build a house, the house is yours, no matter who may steal it. Dr. Hunt says the key to our survival is our African identity. They both say that we need to learn missing pages in Black history. Why? You maintain your inferiority when you don't know your history. Foundational Black Britons must control their own narrative to protect our identity. There is a Black Britannica foundational Black history that they need to know. They need to know the pre-1928, the prehistoric period, the Phoenician period, the Celts, the Roman period, medieval period, the Vikings, and the Moorish period. You guys need to know about the 1919 riots. Yes, there were many riots. And you probably heard about the riots in America because in 1919, when we came back from France, after being over there fighting white people, they had to try to set us in our place. So they had many riots in the United States. But do you know they had riots over there in Britain too? Because they didn't want Black people to feel that they could be independent. They didn't want Black people to know that they could fight. And they felt that since those Black people went in World War I and they had killed other white people, that you might get the idea that you was just as good as them. What? Just as good as them. What? They want you to believe that you can never be as good as them. Then they never teach you about the Black Power riots either, insurrections. But you know, when you want to think about how our children and how we need to know more about Black history, you know, Bev Grant, she was one of the students in my class. She was in the class with Sister Shanice, and she wrote a very interesting paper called "Examining the Academic Consequences of the Exclusion of Black British History on Black Children in the UK." This paper, you can find it on Academia EDU. I'm going to read the abstract. The inclusion of Black British history in the social studies curriculum in the UK holds significant importance. The primary objective is to enhance the self-esteem and racial cultural esteem of Black children in the UK, which is highly likely to have a positive impact on their academic achievement. To investigate this matter, a survey was distributed to educators in the UK, including teachers, head teachers, tutors, and consultants. A total of 8 surveys were sent out, and as of now, 4 responses have been received. The purpose of the survey was to determine whether there is a correlation between academic achievement and knowledge of Black British history in relation to self-esteem and racial cultural pride. This is a very important survey, and as you can see, Bev Grant, you know, after she took my class on research, she decided she was going to contribute to the history of Black people in Britain. That's what we need. We need people who know their history and willing to tell others about the history. You know, what she found in her research was that too many FBA youth are not performing satisfactorily in the schools. Based on UK statistics, she wrote, Gypsies and Roma and traveler of Irish heritage peoples had the highest school exclusion rates, both permanent and temporary, in the 2017 to 2018 school year. Mixed white and Black Caribbean pupils also had high exclusion rates and were both nearly 3 times, listen, 3 times as likely to be permanently excluded as compared to white pupils. Whereas pupils from the Chinese and Indian ethnic group had the lowest exclusion rate. And the reason they have the lowest exclusion rate is that Asians and East Indians, even though many East Indians are darker than us, they still give them honorary status as whites. But if you notice, everything is out there to knock our children down in Britain. This means that they need to know their history. What else has she found? She found that 60% of educators perceive a distinction between self-esteem and racial esteem. She found that 100% of educators believe that incorporating Black British history into the UK social studies curriculum can enhance both self-esteem and racial esteem among Black children. That shows that, yes, don't you want your kids to be achievers? And your kids can be achievers if they know their history. And the best way for them to know their history is what? Is to learn it through you. 80% of educators report that Black British history is taught in Black supplementary schools, while 10% of educators working exclusively in mainstream studies indicate that it's not taught in those settings. No, you did get no black British history in the regular schools. A lot of times you had to get it in a Saturday school or some type of special program. That's why the vast majority of people in Britain don't even know their history. They don't know their history, you see? But now you got a chance to learn your history. The way you can learn your history is that you can learn British history because we're gonna do a 6-week online study course. Your teachers are going to be Sister Shanice and myself. We begin on the 22nd of January, 2024. And what we're going to be doing is unlocking the hidden chapters of British history. You have to go to sistershanice.gumroad.com. You see? We're going to start on January 24th at 7:30 p.m. And we're going to run until 9:30 p.m. That's UK time. The talks are going to be delivered by Dr. Clyde Winters and Sista Shanice. The 6-week study course is going to cost 190 pounds, but if you get in there early, it's only going to be 149 pounds. You can register at https://sistershanice.gumroad.com/L/HQXUS.
Beautiful image. Mm-hmm. Mm. Beautiful images. If there should be sound, we're not hearing any sound.
Oh, you're not?
No, we're not. But the images are beautiful.
Okay, let me go back.
Mm-hmm. But you would need to optimize on the way in. But those images are stunning. Wow. And I think I saw Yoshi's logo. Did I see Yoshimosi's logo?
Yeah, he did it. He did this.
Wow. Big up Yoshi if you're in the house. Big up. So we're going to be coming to you quite soon, audience. Put your questions, comments in the chat, okay? We're going to be coming to you soon.
Learning. He was on a mission to redefine history.
Yep, we're hearing it now.
Today, we will take a journey through the life and work of Dr. Clyde Winters,
a trailblazer in Afrocentric studies
and historical linguistics. It is a story of intellect, passion, and an unrelenting pursuit of knowledge. Early life and education of Dr. Winters.
His journey began in a family rich in culture and history.
His childhood was filled with books and influenced by his surroundings,
laying the foundation for a future filled with discovery.
As he progressed through his academic path, Dr. Winters' passion for history and language grew. Mentors, courses, and early research projects at
Xavier University, Chicago, ignited a fire within him. He was not just learning, he was on a mission to redefine history. His academic career, Dr. Winters stepped into the world of academia as a teacher and a visionary.
His journey was marked by groundbreaking ideas and an unwavering commitment to truth. In Afrocentric studies, he challenged narratives, offering new perspectives on African history and culture.
His work in historical linguistics connected languages across continents, revealing untold stories of human history.
The legacy of Dr. Clyde Winters is written in the minds he enlightened and the historical narratives he transformed.
His journey is a testament to the power of knowledge and the unyielding spirit of exploration.
I hope that you guys, if you do intend on buying the hardcover of Atlantis in Mexico and the Olmec language and literature, get these hardcover editions because you're going to see the greatest art work by the genius, Yoshi Man.
Wow. Beautiful work, beautiful artwork there by Yoshi Mod. Big up.
Today, we will take a journey through the life and work of Dr. Clyde Winters.
No, it doesn't.
Today, we will take a journey through the life and work of Dr. Clyde Winters.
Like,
A trailblazer.
hit escape. No, yeah, hit escape. Oh, brilliant. Brilliant works there.
Okay. Whoop.
Are you going back in? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Afrocentric
Next
study.
slide.
Historical linguistics. It is a
Sorry, gang. I want to get this back.
No problem. No problem. But it's all about the young people. Those images of the young people, wow, just beautiful. And the one that you started with of the young people looking to us as adults to be the ones to teach them the way. We can't rely on the schools. We can't rely on the education system. We're the ones who've got to do it, indeed. And oh, you'll get it. Just go to the next slide, the slide after that one.
Yeah, I want to do that.
Yeah. So slide 36. Nope. When you come out and go in, just tap on slide 36. That's the one afterwards. So rise up, family in the house. Good to see the talks that's going on. You got right, yeah, there we go. Click that one.
Okay.
Yeah, and then hit slideshow. There we go. Over to
Okay,
slideshow. Who's that person there?
Every time I do that, it wants to.
Oh, does it want to keep going back?
It doesn't. It wants to show up. It doesn't want to. It's okay. You can join the class and see the class that we're going to start. This is AI. It is the only AI class. And see, Sister Shanice, she's saying it's AI because you're going to get ancestral intelligence. In this class, Sister Shanice and I, we're going to teach you about the prehistory. We're going to teach you about the early settlement of Britain. We're going to teach you about, Black history. You see? In the class, we're going to use two books. We're going to use Sister Shanice's book, King Alpha. And in this book, this book is very good. And before you join the class, hopefully you'll buy this book. And this book, you'll be able to get even more information about the stuff that we're going to be talking about in the class. In the class, you got the Blacks in Europe. My book is also going to be used. So the two books that's going to be used in the class is Blacks in Europe and King Arthur by Sister Shanice. Okay, again, you can go to the Patreon to see the slides. You can go to Twitter, go at Dr. Clyde Winters 8. You can follow me on TikTok at tiktok.com at Clyde Winters 3. But just put in Clyde Winters on TikTok, and a whole lot of shorts that come up. I've also put some shorts on YouTube. You can go view my shorts on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. And please join me. I'm going to be doing a live tomorrow on my YouTube channel. And I'm going to be doing a live every beginning of January. I'm going to do a live beginning January 7th. And this live is going to be called Then and Now. And on this live, it'll be me and Yoshi Mod. I'll give the old folks perspective, and Yoshi will give the young folk perspective. So join me on my lives on YouTube, and join me for my lives that I'm going to begin on January 7th. It'll be at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central U.S. time. Okay, if you want to, in a sense, get some good work done, you might want to contact Yoshi Mod.
At Yoshi Mod Productions, we're here to take your brand and creativity to new heights. From EPKs to AI commercials, animated music commercials to animated AI bios, book covers to picture flyers, and so much more, we've got you covered. Our team is dedicated to delivering high-quality, cutting-edge designs that leave a lasting impression. And for our valued clients, we offer exceptional creativity, a customer-centric approach, and work that reflects the latest trends and technologies. Just about making art, we're about creating experiences. Your brand, your vision, our artistry. Professionalism and reliability are the cornerstones of everything we do. We're more than a service, we're your creative partners. If you're ready to make your brand shine, look no further than Yoshimod Productions. Join us in the journey of creativity. Contact us today and let's make your vision a reality. At Yoshimod
Again, if you want to learn more about Black British history, join our class. It begins on 22nd of January 2024. You can go to Gumroad now and you can join the class. But right now, everybody, we had to be B1. You know, hug the nearest Black person to you. Yeah, hug them. Even sometimes grandma, she don't want to hug you, but hug and kiss on the cheek. You know, grab old granddad if you're around, but he probably out the house doing something. But remember, B1, Black first.
B1 all the way. Yes.
Thank you.
We thank you, Dr. Charles. We thank you. Absolutely phenomenal as always. Wow, you've given us, a really good sounding on why African history is so important. And, not only is it important that we have the knowledge, but also, that we pass that knowledge on to our children who are the future. Thank you so much. Family, wow, we've opened up a huge rabbit hole here. And, for those who haven't been on the journey with us, you've got no idea how deep this rabbit hole goes in terms of our history in Britain and the British Isles. I mean, we're going back tens of thousands of years. We've been here for tens of thousands of years. When you look at the out of Africa migration, they're now saying that started and we reached Europe 200,000 years ago. So what is clear is that even with the history that we've been finding out about, they've been collapsing time. That means that they've known, that we are much older than they have even been letting on to us that we are in their own research to their own people, their own historians, etc. But with the technology that's available now, the access to information, the access to the ancient books, the access to the research that we can find, and we will be able to show you on this course, family, where to go to find the research information, where to go to find the academic information, where to go to find the papers, where to go to find the archaeological reports. We'll be able to teach you some of what we've even been learning from greats like Dr. Marie Charles, who talks about first sight consciousness, who talks about, a cultural connectivity, who's into symbolism. We'll be able to share all that with you so that you can see what you're looking at for yourself. But my family, when you begin to hear about the history that we had, pre-colonialism, pre-slavery and everything else in Britain and the British Isles, you're going to be shocked. You're going to be absolutely shocked. You're not going to find it in the mainstream history books, okay? So do sign up for the course. There's about 4 days left for you to get the course at a discounted rate. And, the evidence that we're going to be bringing you on this journey is going to do exactly what Dr. Clive said needs to be done, especially for our children. It's going to raise our race esteem. We're going to be uncovering so much of our lost history, family, so much. I mean, we can't even pack it all into the 6 weeks, but that's where we're starting from. So join us on the journey. It was as a result of me doing the Dr. Winters course that I wrote that book, The Remarkable Accomplishments of Asian African Civilization. It's a result of doing Dr. Clyde's research program that I wrote the book on King Offa. You get exposed, family, not only to our history, but to the encouragement, the inspiration, and the guidance, that you need in order that you can contribute towards rewriting our history. And that's what's really, really also important, is it, Dr. Clyde, that we have a team of people from Britain who are rewriting the history of Black people in Britain. We've got to rise up greats like yourself, Sheikh Anta Diop, and all the various others who have given us back our history of Africa, who's given us the history of America, who's given us the history of Blacks in Asia. But now we need to reclaim the history of us in Europe and in Britain.
And remember, family, this is important. This is very important, is that when you take the class, remember, Oliver Cromwell, when he sent our British ancestors to the Caribbean, and he sent them to 1619, he said that you are being exiled for perpetuity. This is in the Parliament. He said perpetuity. He never expected you to come back and to know this history. And the reason he wanted you to never come back is that he was afraid that if you came back, you would know our great history in Britain, in Scotland, in Wales, in Ireland. No, he didn't want you to do that. He didn't want you to know anything about that, because see, when you know that, it's so important for you to know this. I'm telling you, family, when you take this class, if you have any teenagers in the household, your sons, your daughters, your granddaughter, your grandson, we hope that you will have that. If they're at least 13 or up, they're going to be able to understand the class. The class is not going to be highfalutin. It's going to be written in common language. It's going to be slides, so they're going to see the evidence. And if you have a son or a grandson or a granddaughter or a daughter, they should sit down with you when you take this class, because see, that's the future. And if you look at this together, then you can have conversations after the class. And we can be creating young people who are going to take up the mantle. They're going to take up this knowledge and move forward with it. We want foundational Black Britons to know their history, to have pride in their history, and we're going to give you the evidence. So when someone says, "Oh, well, you're lying about that history. That's not real history. You know how that is, right?" You're going to be able to have the evidence. You're going to be able to have the receipts to be able to show them that you're not playing. You're telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Ashe.
Any questions?
Yeah, let's go to the chat and see if there's any questions in the chat. I've just posted the link to Gumroad. So yeah, please do join us, family. It's going to be a journey. And don't be surprised if after the course you don't find yourself writing books, you don't find yourself writing papers, you don't find yourself wanting to learn more from this great man about research techniques, about how to do. Because, like I said, he's just phenomenal. Ask anyone who's done his classes, all still very much in touch with him, learning from him, this great man. And, there are very few people like Dr. Clyde Winters, who's just so giving and so sharing and so encouraging and inspiring. I'm telling you, family, he is one in a million. You are an absolute gem. You really are. I mean, none of my school teachers in all the years that I went to school, college, and university in the UK have been as encouraging to me as you have, Dr. Clyde. You've managed to bring out, a side of me and something inside of me that would have been buried for a long, long time. So allow this great man, family, to be your mentor as well. Let's go to the chat and see what our family is saying. We've got Mahogany in the house, giving us lots of hearts. Rise up, rise up. Brother Kwame Aboje, lots of messages from you. Thank you so, so much. Bigging up Sister D about the works of Brother Winters in spreading his great research here on the Sista Shanice show. And he's so generous, he really is, with the knowledge. But I tell you, with 46 books, there's only so much that you can actually share on these platforms, because really you need to do the studying. We need to direct you, and you need to do the study. You need to come back to the class. You need to present to the class or get involved in the conversations and the debates in the class. Rise up, Sister Afri-Jamo. Come on, family, give us some more thumbs up and some more likes. That would be absolutely beautiful if you were to do so. Sister Sherilyn is in the house. Another graduate of the Dr. Winters Phenomenology Research Program. Rise up, Sister Sherilyn. Great to have you in the house. But Brother Heru says, Sister Shanice, if you build a house, the house is yours, no matter who may steal it. That is right. He's throwing that quote right back at me. And you know what, family, you're going to realize that that is also one of their biggest fears, that they're going to realize whose house Britain really belongs to. And their biggest fear is that we're also going to realize, you know, what we left behind here, how we left here, what happened to the Africans who were here. They don't want us to know that. And they don't want us to know what happened to our estates, what happened to our land, what happened to our wealth, what happened to our heritage, and all that we left behind. And family, the great news is that you can probably even still today trace your heritage, find your land, find your family crest, find your family's wealth. Family, the rabbit hole that has been opened up here is phenomenal. And to think that, you know, these people in Cambridge and Oxford, because some of the books that I've been reading, family, at the beginning of the books, it'll tell you where you can find copies of some of these books. And it will tell you there's a copy in Cambridge University, Oxford University, Chicago State University. You know, it'll tell you the universities where they've got copies of these books with our history in it. So it's not as if they don't know. They know very well. And, you know, these archaeologists that are digging up all of the artifacts, and when they find that, you know, it's all blackety black, as Dr. Clyde says, when they find all of that stuff, what do? They bury it in the museums, in the basements of these universities. And then with the coins, they're chiseling away, you know, at the noses, they're, you know, busy whitening artwork that they have, you know, and putting themselves in it. They are imposters, family. What are we talking about? You're going to find out. This, you know, and when Dr. Charles spoke about some of our historians who are doing, you know, some of the great works, but it's within a Eurocentric context, because they are, you know, largely controlled by the Europeans, because the works they're doing is within the European establishments. And so, you know, they're going to have some European over them telling them whether what they're writing is acceptable or not. And so, you know, that's why everything they write tends to be couched within the context of us being slaves. But the reality and royalty is that when you see the truth of our history, family, you're going to be blown away. And this is what we want to show you on the course, the truth of our history, because we need to rewrite British history. And it's up to us to start doing the works. We can't get the information out to you all fast enough and quick enough. There's only so much that you can do on these platforms, because you're always going to get, aren't you, the naysayers that are going to come in an organized way to try and deflate, to destabilize, to detract, and distract. This is what they do. They are well organized. You know, you write a paper and you're going to get people from all the different universities, because they've all come together. This is how they network, and they home in on your book or your paper or what have you to try and discredit the works. But the good thing is that when you know how to back up your work with sources and with evidence, they can only throw stones and innuendos, you know. Dr. Clyde, let me allow you to come in here.
And it's very important to understand is that the British kept good records.
Yeah.
They put your ancestors' names on those rosters, on those boats when they took them over to Bermuda, when they took them over to Barbados, when they took them over in a sense to Jamaica. They have your ancestors' names on the boats.
Yes.
They wanted you in the Caribbean. They wanted us in the United States to always concentrate on Africa. Oh, they brought all the Africans as slaves. Yes, they did bring us from Africa slaves, but many of us did not come from Africa. I'm sorry to tell you this. Sorry to tell you this. Many of you guys did not, your ancestors didn't come from Africa at that time. Our ancestry is African, yes. You know, and thousands of years ago, those Africans came to the British Isles. So we have African ancestry, but your heritage may be Welsh. Your heritage may be Scottish. Your heritage may be British. Because you were a Catholic, because you dared to believe in the Catholic religion, they had a 30-year war to get rid of you. Remember the 30-year war? And so they want you. Don't tell nobody. Anybody looking? Okay. They know that indigenous people, their rights are never taken away from them. They know that you can go into the international courts of law and you can demand maybe some justice, maybe demand your land back, or at least maybe some financial compensation. They don't want you to know where you came from. They don't want you to know what your history is. But that's what Sister Shanice and I want to do. We want to teach you your history. You see, and we want you to be able to know who, what you are, where you're from, and let you know that, see, it is so important. We had W.B. Du Bois. We had John Henry Clark. We had Carter G. Woodson. We had all these great Black historians. And they wrote so much about slavery, like Sister Shanice said, but it took a Black woman. It took a British woman. It took Sister Dr. Marie Charles to really do the research. It was a sister who did this. What happened to you, brothers? It was a sister who did this. And that's why it's a sister who decided that she wanted to teach you guys this course so we can get everybody enlightened. Remember, Oliver Cromwell said, I will send you into chattel slavery for perpetuity. They didn't know you was coming back, baby. They didn't know you was coming back, baby. See? And so this is why this class is so important. And we're hoping that many of you will join the class. You said 4 more days for the get the discount if you join 4 days from now. But the point is this, is that we want to see you guys in the class. We want to get to know you. We want you to get to know us. And then in the class, you can ask many of the questions that you've been pining to ask, you see. A lot of you guys, I'm going to tell you, my name is Clyde. When I was growing up, I had 2 questions. Number 1, where the hell did my father get the name Zenobia? You see, my mother told us that we were part Choctaw, but I didn't want to be in no Choctaw because the Indians always lost. I wanted to be with the African kingdoms. Okay. So my father's name was Zenobia. I said, damn. So I looked in the African, and I later found out that Zenobia was a Choctaw name. But then I said, how the hell did I get Clyde? Clyde, that's, how the hell did somebody on the plantation become Clyde? Because see, I always thought that the Winters had to come from the Winters, that some German slave master may have been the one to get one of my great-great-grandparents or whatever, And so but then I knew that Clyde, that's something that's coming over from the Clyde River over there in England, And then Sister, Marie Charles showed when they talked about the Winters clan. Wow. The Winters clan in Ireland. Damn. Maybe I got a little Irish there. Oh, I don't drink, but I'll try. and give me a little liquor. I don't drink, but all my kids do, so whatever. But I know, so I got African, I got Choctaw, I got European. Yes, yes. If you come from the Caribbean, you come from Jamaica, you got 3 heritages. Taino, Indian, Yo Dede and Ja. You got, in a sense, you got the Irish and you got the African. That's what make us a unique people. That's why they do everything to make us feel inferior. They do everything to keep us down. They don't want us to know our history. They want us to suffer from what's called CAIDS, culturally acquired identity immune deficiency syndrome. See, they want you to be like some of these people who lose their blackness, like Jonathan Majors. Know you've heard about Jonathan Majors? He over here in America, he got him a British girlfriend, white girl. He started going around to the parties thinking that he was black, thinking he was white, thinking that he was as good as any white man. That's his biggest mistake. You never think you're as good as a white man. You have to know you're better than a white man, and you don't want to be around them. See, but when you start thinking you're as good as white folks, you go around the white folks, you be coming around them with a white woman. They don't like that.
No, they don't.
And see, they don't like you being with that white woman. That's why people with kids like Michael Jordan, they marry a Latina, because they always say a Latina is just a black person with straight hair, you know. But so they try to marry a Latina so they can pretend that they still got a white mind, they still got a white identity. But see, Jonathan Majors, he dared to act like he's a man. He dared to act like he could go around with his white woman and stuff. You see, he knew he was wrong, because now he's going around with Megan Good, Megan whatever her name is. But see, the whole point is that he caught case and they had to set him in his place. He's an example. He's not an example. He's an example for every black person in America and every black person in Britain to know you better stay in your place. He was prosecuted by a black district attorney. Yes, a black district attorney. The black district attorney saw Jonathan Majors running away from this woman. The police said, we got to charge her with attacking Jonathan Majors. That black district attorney, he's Uncle Tom. He ain't nothing but a coconut. He said, no, we're not going to prosecute her. We're going to prosecute that Igga. See, that's a sign to let us know, stay in your place, brother. Love up on you, a black woman. Leave those other folk alone.
Yeah.
That black woman, you don't know it. You don't know it. Look at them, they're trying to take our women. They want to marry, I don't know about in England and America, every commercial now got a black man, a white man with a black woman. Because they want you. They want that black woman because they want that melanin. They want that power. But some of us are too stupid. Too stupid. They're too stupid to know you got the prize. You got the prize. Jonathan Majors, he had to learn the hard way. They took him out of the movies, everything, but he's just a message to you. Leave my women alone. Stay in your place, Igga. Bill Cosby, stay in your place, Igga. You ain't gonna be going around here dating all these white people thinking you like me. Kanye West, he begging him, please love me, I'm your old man. Oh, yes, sir. But they keep seeing you with them white women, Kanye.
Right, they don't like it.
They think you think you're white. As I said, don't ever think you as good as a white man. You better know you better than a white man. And the way you show you're better than a white man is that you know that I'm gonna get me a black woman, because my queen is gonna be there with me. You see, my queen is gonna be there with me. See, and you're not gonna have mixed up children. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I mean, class. We need to celebrate our beautiful black men and our beautiful Black women coming together in oneness and bringing forward those beautiful babies. And then we've got to make sure that we empower them with the knowledge of the greatness of who they are, because they're not going to get that encouragement. They're not going to get that knowledge in the schools. In fact, they're going to be deflated in the schools. I want to rise up Sister Bev for the research that she did and the paper that she submitted. Her research, as you was, presenting to us there in your presentation, was making it clear again, that the damage that the schools are doing in terms of what they're teaching our children. And so if we want our children to have, greater self-esteem and confidence, we're the ones who are going to have to learn the history and teach it to them. Let's go over to the chat, Dr. Clyde. Let's see what some of our family members are saying. Rise up, Brother Kwame. Sister D says, Dr. Clyde, Sister Shanice, have either of you experienced backlashes from mainstream organizations or people since writing your books? Share with us, please. Yes, there's all sorts of comments that have been written. They get organized to try and tear you down. But, when you've got people in your corner like Dr. Clyde Winters, it gives you a hard bat. You're prepared for it. And you expect it. But I think what cuts deep the most for me is when your own people turn around and want to critique you and be critical, and I haven't even read your book, for example. That does really cut deep. But if you read the book and you want to comment in the chat what your views and thoughts are of it, let me know. Okay, welcome. I'll put that question to Dr. Clyde in a moment. Let's see what else we've got. And Sister D also said, yes, what is hidden in the dark must come to light. The truth has come to pass. Yes, indeed, Brother Kwame, it has. Eyes Wide Shut says, looked at the link above. Does not. Oh, no, it doesn't show the early bird price, but when you go in, it will do the discount. I'll amend it so that it does actually show the early bird price. Thanks for that. But yes, there is an early bird price at the checkout. But I'll amend the flyer so that you can see it at the front. Thank you so much for that, Eyes Wide Shut. Hopefully you're going to be joining us step by step. Tech, say that you love and appreciate us both. Thank you so much. Hope you're going to join us on the course as well. It'd be good to get to meet you. Brother Kwame or Boje giving lots of credit as well to the late Baba Ivan Van Sertiman, Baba Ranonko Rashidi. Yes, indeed. Thanks for that. I think it's Baba Ivan Van Sertiman in his book, Blacks in Asian and Modern Science. He's given a whole chapter about your works in that book, Dr. Clyde. And you can't buy that book now. You can't get it. And if you do, you're paying hundreds of pounds for that book. And he's devoted a whole chapter in there about your works. Wow.
Well, see, what happened is that those books were really the Journal of African Civilization. What he did is that he was the editor. That's why I always gave a summary introduction. Those books were really, back in 1979, that's when we decided to do the Journal of African Civilization. That's why you find some of those articles in there. But the thing is, that what made Ivan very important is that Ivan, because of the fact, see, back then, Ivan, he could go from city to city to sell his book, and so when he was selling his book about ancient America, he got to meet a lot of people, and that's how he was able to find those scholars who contributed to the various books that he later published. But he was just an editor, He wasn't really a researcher. He was an editor. He taught Swahili at Rutgers, but he did a lot in a sense to popularize, Afrocentric studies. He's the one who taught us about a lot of different scholars because of the fact he was able to find the people and put them in the journal. But I had a few people. I'm gonna go real quick. I had some people try to attack me, but the only people who attack me today are some mestizos, And the mestizos, they try to attack me because the fact, in a sense, is that they want to say they're the Olmec, but then when they look in the mirror, they see a white face. Okay, but what happened is that scholars never attack my research on the Olmecs. The reason they don't attack my research on the OMAC is that in 1997, I did a presentation at the Central States Anthropological Association. I have the film online. When I break down the OMAC language, and at that particular presentation, I was on a panel with 3 other people. And I was on the panel with one of the top scholars in Mesoamerican studies. And so out in the audience, it was all the big boys and girls. They were out in the audience. And so then that's why you'll never find professional anthropologists or historians attack my work, because they know that if I'm able to publish, I'm gonna be able to show that they were liars. But after I die, they'll cover them all over the place. But again, I'll be dead. I don't care. But that's one of the reasons why, yes, they did attack my work. But the point is this, is that they don't want to attack my work because I try to have the receipts. And see, if somebody tried to attack Sister Shanice's work, her book on King Alpha, one of the reasons that we're going to use that book in the class is that she gives a very good discussion of the prehistory. She not only talks about King Alpha in the book, she also talks about the various groups that were in the British Isles before King Alpha. So that's one of the reasons why we're going to be using her book and my book. And those of you who do plan to take the class, please buy that book so you can have it ready by January 22nd. And we want you to come in because, see, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So any questions, put them in the chat. Let's scroll up and see what we've got. Eyes Wide Open says, I think we should be thinking bigger than knowing our African history. We need to know about all of our world history. We have been long too stuck on Africa and not the rest of the world that we're from. Well, we have a history exactly across the entire globe. Where we really do. And we're homing in on Britain because there's a lot of us here in Britain who just don't know our true history. And also, when we start studying our history, family, you're going to realize that we have a bigger connection to our brothers and sisters in America, African-American brothers and sisters, than you might actually think. Yeah. In fact, some of us could be related. Some of us could be related. And, years ago, I remember giving blood for not sickle cell. What was it? What's that disease that some of our people have?
Sickle cell.
There's another one. There's another one. Someone put it in the chat for me. I remembered it in the day. I couldn't remember it this morning. But you give blood, and it's usually only family members that might be able to give you that exact blood match so that you can give the blood to that person who's suffering this particular disease. And because the chances of a match...
Is it leukemia?
No, leukemia? Not leukemia. No, okay. Not leukemia. Because the chances of a match is so slim, there's like an international database, and it was really popular, this database, in Britain and in America. And I happened to be a match for someone in America. But it didn't go through with to the actual bone marrow. That's it, bone marrow transplant. Yeah. And I was thinking, wow, strange that I'm a match with someone in America. Now, had I known the history that I know now, wow, I would have been in touch with that family.
Me and Dr. Short, we were talking about that the other day. He called me up. And see, what happened is that most of the chattel slaves were in North Carolina and Virginia, and so what you find is that as they expanded, what they did is that a lot of times they would take the Aboriginal Black people, they made them slaves in Jamaica. These would be various different tribes like Choctaw Cree. A lot of them, when they would have a fight with the white man would send many of the men to Jamaica. And see, many of the Black Indian women were put on the plantation. And see, the first slaves on the plantations in America in 1625, 1630 were mainly chattel, Irish, and Welsh slaves.
Exactly.
So,
Some went to America and some went to Jamaica and other Caribbean islands. Family members were split up, as we know. So, yeah.
So that's why we're so close. But see, they want to just have you think about Africa, because see, if everybody that came back from Jamaica, that came to Britain, knew that was their damn home, you make the white folks, the Caucasians, gonna feel bad. See, and so then the thing is, that's one of the reasons why. That's why Oliver Cromwell said perpetuity. Perpetuity. They never expected any of us to go back. See, because they knew if you went back, then you're going to demand in your land rights. You're going to demand that estate. You see, you're going to demand that. Hey, wait a minute, Lindsay, that's my estate. Get the hell out of our house. You're in the wrong house. I'm telling you. Come and join this class. Learn about your ancestry. We're not talking about Africa. No, we're not talking about Africa. We might mention Africa here and there, but we're talking about the people who made the British Isles the famous. See, when they every time they look at your kid, every time a parent goes to school and they said your kid is bad in math, you say, stop telling me my kid is bad in math. It was black architects who built London.
That's right.
It was black architects who designed those buildings. See.
Yes,
See?
indeed. So if you want to be a pioneer, family, because we're looking for pioneers, we're looking for people who want to be at the forefront of rewriting history as well, because, this is a really exciting time in Black British history, because what we're going to be teaching you, family, what we've been finding out about our history, as we've said, you're not going to get it taught to you in school, colleges, or universities. The book about King Offa, really, it was just scratching the surface. It really was just scratching the surface, because there's so much. There is so much to our history that you can't even put it all out there all at once. It's just too much for our people to even begin to comprehend. And so what we feel that we need to do is to build a team of us as Black British researchers, historians, those who want to be at the forefront of correcting our shared history. So we really need you, especially if you're from Britain as well, to be prepared to, do the research, extensively document, and get the support that you need. If you want to get your work published and put out there, we can give you the know-how. I am, sailing under the wings, flying under the wings of the great man, Baba Dr. Clyde himself. I am honored. I am truly honored. And you know what? He's got a big wingspan. He's got a large wingspan, and you could be underneath his wings as well, and as he said to you, everything that he writes is backed up. It's based on solid evidence from an archaeological, scientific, there's documentation that can bring, archaeological. So, his work is backed up. And wow, like I said before, you really are a genius to be able to interpret the Olmec writings and other writings. Wow, that the so-called experts can't even interpret, and come to your work to get an understanding of what some of these symbols and inscriptions are. You family, you can't even begin to imagine who we have in our presence in terms of this great man. And you speak a number of languages as well, so you're able to understand, our history from a number of different perspectives as well, language perspectives.
But see, it's because of the fact is that I know you guys have heard about the Akashic records, and the European teaches you, Caucasians teach you that the Akashic records are some secret set of records. No, the Akashic records are out there, but the Akashic records, most of them were written by Black people like you. So when you acknowledge your ethnicity, I know a lot of times, in a sense, John Henry Clark used to say, there's no Black land, there's no Negro land. He was a lie. because the Egyptians called themselves what? They said they lived in Kemet, which was the black land. And they said that they were coming true or coming you, the black people. See, now you know, anytime you look at the Egyptians, when you look at those monuments, you see that some was high yellow, some was reddish, some was ruddy, some in a sense was cinnamon, some were coal black. So they were not talking about your black color. They was talking about, in a sense, your recognition and intellect. When the people in ancient Egypt called themselves Kemetians instead of calling themselves Cushites, they were saying that they were the sons and the daughters of God. When you accept your heritage as black people, then when you call yourself black, then you have access to the Akashic records. That's why I can do the things I do. I can do the things I do because I can access those records because I respect my ancestors. Sister Shanice has always been a strong black sister. You ain't heard her for years on the radio. You saw in the community setting up projects and programs for people. Naturally, once she learned the research skills, then the ancestors, nobody ever dies. The ancestors are working around here. I tell you, Sister Shanice wants to teach AI. AI. I'm not talking about artificial intelligence. Sister Shanice, we're going to teach AI. That's ancestral intelligence. We're teaching the intelligence from the ancients, and we're able to access that because we accept who and what we are. See, we don't want to be white. I'm not mad at you, but I'm proud of this melanated blackness. See, when you saw that film, yes, I used to have a big afro, but I lost that. I used to have a real big mustache. I lost that. Even though I lost my hair, even though I lost my mustache, God still allowed me to have that black brain. What do they call the brain? They call the brain the superior nigra. That means the superior black. I used to call it the super nigger. That's what your brain is, because you got so much there. And see, yes, we believe in white supremacy. Yeah, they think they're supreme, but we know who the real supreme people are.
Ashe, definitely.
And you family, we need you. We need you. We're in a war. We're in a spiritual war. What do you mean? We're in a war where they are using live bullets, and their bullets is teaching you their history. Their bullets is teaching you to want their women and you want their men. That's their bullets, and they're killing a lot of us off. Jonathan Majors, and just about every black British actors, except for the black British actor who played in the Star Wars movies. Every other black British actor in America is married to a white woman or a white man. That's pathetic. That's pathetic, you see. But that's because they've lost their identity. They lost their immunity. And that's what me and Sister Shanice want to do.
Yeah, we want to reconnect us. Shay, reconnect us back to our identity, reconnect us back to our heritage, reconnect us back to our land, reconnect us back to our history and who we really are and what we've accomplished in these lands. Wow, the history, family, I can't wait to start sharing it with you. Dr. Winters can't wait to start sharing some of this knowledge with you. It's going to blow your mind. So certainly hope that you're going to be joining us. I did come across something that was talking about land, actually, and the interconnectedness that we have with land. Let me just quickly do a little read here. As the descendants of the indigenous Africans of Britain, whose land, whose heritage, and whose culture was stolen, remember, as a result of that today, this is why most of us as the diaspora, we are landless, we have no land, we have no heritage, and we have no ancient culture to speak of that we are directly connected to because it was stolen. And so what we're aiming to do is to reconnect us to that stolen land. And it's so, so important that we begin to reflect on the importance of land. And so when I was reflecting on that, I came across this. And it was talking about the stolen land of the indigenous people elsewhere out of Britain. And it was held that, the indigenous people had a particular connection with land, and our ancestors had a particular connection with land as well, because it was directly linked to the belief that we had in cosmologies, which is how we understood the world and our place within the world. So that is the importance of land. It makes us understand who we are and our place in the world. And Dr. Clyde was talking about the importance of culture as well, and the importance of heritage. We was talking about culture on my show earlier today, but back here it's saying that in indigenous cosmologies, the land and all living beings within the ecological web of their homeland are considered foundational to the existence of us as a people. So the land, it provided not only the physical sustenance for us, but it also contributed towards shaping our identity, our language, our knowledge of who we are, our ancestry, our ways of life, our understanding of where we fit into the broader universe as well. And so once you have that connection with your land and your culture and your identity and your language and everything else is intact, then when we come along, we build on that foundation. And so if there's indigenous communities, we are disconnected from our homeland, we are then disconnected in terms of who we are, our identity, the history of our language, the history of the knowledge that our ancestors had, our understanding of that land, which we would have learned over generations in terms of what could be used to make materials for clothes, for buildings, what we would mine, where we would mine, the ingredients that would come together. We would have been connected to all of that in our homeland. And, obviously we also would have had, ownership and entitlement over some of that land as well, which would have been built up over generations. And so when we are disconnected, it's like uprooting you from everything that you have known and your family have known for generations. Come in. Yes, please, Dr. Clyde.
Yes, like, haven't you ever wondered, family? Have you ever wondered, family, that you grew up in Britain and your parents would visit back home, but they never went all the way back. They stayed here because intuitively, they knew that they were at home. I know you can't understand this, but see, sometimes you can have a feeling, you see, and as Sister Shanice said, that they stole your house, but when you came back to the house, you could feel that this was where I belong. See, this is where I belong, and this is where you belong. But they want you to always feel, oh, you come from somewhere else. But no, they don't want you to know that. See, they don't want you to know that, because see, that's why I told you, after you take this class, when you learn you were here, and not just learn you were here, but know you're here, because we're going to teach you the receipts, then you're going to start to see your whole world is going to be different. If you have your teenage or early or preteens looking at the program with you, they're going to have a different idea about who they are. They're going to be those architects, those doctors, because they're going to remember that we made this land. They're going to say, instead of saying you, they're going to say we, because they're going to stop looking at that Caucasian as the epitome of success, the epitome of growth. You see. That's why, in a sense, that after Windrush, people came to England. Oh, I'm going to get a good job. Well, they got the damn job, but they didn't go back home because they knew they were at home. They just couldn't explain it. They just didn't have the evidence. And that's where Dr. Marie Charles comes in. That's where Dr. Charles came in and said, she's given us the fabric. She's given us the weave. She's given us the foundation. She's given us an understanding of the genesis. Yes, the genesis of who you are, Black Britons. That's why she named you guys foundational Black Britons. See,
Yeah,
see,
beautiful, beautiful.
when you
We're
hold on to
almost
your,
at the, yeah, we're at the
Yeah.
top of the hour already. My time has flown by. But we certainly, you mentioned the program. Family, when you go to Gumroad, you can also get an overview of what we're going to be covering. So there is a brochure there that you can get free of charge, or you can make a donation for it if you wish. So take a look at the brochure as well. Certainly hope that you will all be joining us. My, wouldn't it be powerful if everyone here was to join us on that course? It would be a power movement indeed. And that's ideally what we want to start here. We've got to revolutionize our perspective of our history in Britain. The Americans have done it in terms of their, modern existence in America. And, our greats have done it in terms of reclaiming back Egypt from those who are trying to give the impression that, the Egyptian pharaohs and everyone else is right. We now need to do that for Britain. Yes. So Dr. Clyde Winters, thank you so much. Really looking forward to the course. To everyone who has kept it locked here onto this channel, thank you so much. We've got so much more that we want to share with you. Certainly hope that you're going to be joining us on the course so that we can go on this journey together. Final word from you, Dr. Winters, to the audience.
All I can say is let's go back to the past. Go back to the past. Come to the course and learn and help us grow and help our children grow because they need the knowledge. See you later.
Take care, family. More love, more strength, and happy Kwanzaa.